dialogue in that movie was whimsical.
Extremely. Cartoonish.
It had that classic Coen Bros flourish where everything was said in the most over-the-top manner with like that ridiculous Southern vernacular.
Yeah, dude. The Southern accent in this was so funny and all over the place. I loved it.
It was like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? On crack.
Yeah.
On crack.
Yeah.
Dude, the euphemisms. I mean, I can't even remember them all.
No, too many. Literal slapstick comedy. I mean, we saw someone getting slapped with a stick.
When I said that, I was like, this is kind of slapstick. Kaylin's like, yeah, he's slapping that guy with a stick right now.
Oh, yeah. No,
hilarious.
excellent movie, though, man. I was a huge fan. First time watching, I had a blast.
Yeah, it was all our first times. I think it's the only collab between the Coen Bros and Nicolas Cage.
I think so, too.
And it could be worth looking up, but I do recall reading that they had a very frustrating experience with him and did not want to work with him again after this. Maybe we should look that up.
I would like to, yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah. I can only imagine. Nick Cage probably is a lot to deal with. I think he was still doing the method.
This was method acting days. Yeah. I was just going to bring it up.
So he's method acting a recidivist gas station robber.
Who's fallen in love and wants to get his woman a baby.
Yeah.
A baby. As they say.
A baby.
A baby.
So, if you haven't picked up from the clues, we are talking about Raising Arizona.
Absolutely.
This is Booty Whiskey.
Episode 6.
Sexual Seduction. Episode 6.
What a wild ride we've been on.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
This is a pretty cool movie.
Totally.
I got a clip here to set the stage.
Hit me. Light me up.
So come on down to Unpainted Arizona, where you can get the finest selection in fixtures and appointments for your bathroom, bedroom, boudoir. And if you can find lower prices anywhere, my name ain't Nathan Arizona.
The owner of the largest chain of unpainted furniture and bathroom fixture outlets throughout the Southwest.
Unpainted furniture.
Yep. Florence had been taking fertility pills, and she and Nathan had hit the jackpot. Now y'all without sin can cast the first stone. But we thought it was unfair that some should have so many while others should have so few. With the benefit of hindsight, maybe it wasn't such a hot idea. But at the time, Ezra plan seemed like the solution to all our problems and the answer to all our prayers.
So good.
So good.
The soundtrack in this movie.
That was, the perfect sound. That soundtrack was so good.
Yeah.
The whole time.
It was like, it was the first thing that really made me think, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? When we were watching it. It was like, the way they're using the music and the feeling of it, that Appalachian banjo picking. And
I'm excited for you to see the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, too, because it ties right into it.
Nice.
Yeah, I got very similar vibes.
Yeah, I gotta watch that for sure. But yeah, so we got a little plot breakdown there.
It pretty much explains most of it.
The part that you don't get from audio is the newspaper headline showing that they got, the couple in question got 5 babies. It was quintuplets. And
Hell.
So the headline says like, quintuplets go home, too much to handle. And they're reading this, and our main characters are barren, can't have kids. They've been trying for a while, and it's the only thing they want is a kid. And they read this, and they get the bright idea to steal a baby.
They're going to steal that baby.
They're going to steal that baby. Where's the baby?
We can get into John Goodman in a sec. My God.
The amount of times that baby was abandoned in this movie is ridiculous.
6. Yeah.
Yeah, so premise, there's a couple very wealthy with 5 babies, and then there's a couple very poor with no babies.
No babies.
And they decide to steal a baby. And yeah, hilarity ensues. It was very wacky. It was very Bugs Bunny. and Elmer Fudd.
Cartoon hijinks all around.
Yeah.
Slapping and like the facial expressions people were making, the like over enunciation of words, everything. Loved it.
Very goofy. Like at one point during the baby kidnapping, Nick Cage is tiptoeing, but he's doing that like cartoon prance where like you do the high knees. It's like his knees are going all the way up to his chest and he's like tiptoeing through this hallway. It's like this is a Disney animator's version of tiptoeing.
Yeah. That was an overwhelming scene. The baby one.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it still. It was just so I think he was just so overwhelmed.
Right. He's like
guess.
sweating.
Yeah.
There's no dialogue. It's just 5 babies and then Nick Cage. And he's trying to choose between the babies of like which one he wants to take. But as the scene goes on, all the babies get out of his control and they're like wandering around. And yeah, he's just like fumbling and running and trying to catch the babies and put them back in the crib. He's sweating profusely.
So much.
I said this at the time, but I could feel this movie on my skin. It was very textural. There was a lot of sweating. There was a lot of mud and hair gel.
Just general
pomade.
Filth, grime.
The Coen Brothers love their pomade. I'm a Dapper Dan man myself. But
Dapper Dan.
Yeah, dude, when John Goodman just slides like a full fistful of pomade onto the side of his head and combs it in, and it's just shining, dude. It's so thick. I could feel that on my skull. And
brought me right back to my greaser days, baby.
Oh my God. It's very uncomfortable. It's very visceral to watch that.
I know. Especially because they just got out of the mud. Like, they're just, they wash their heads.
And it was septic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He said, so they pull out of the mud. I've got that clip queued up. I'll play that in a second.
Great.
They get out of the mud, escaping from prison out of a hole. And they sit on her couch and then explain that actually they also went through the septic the sewer system of some
We don't
sort.
always smell like this, darling.
Incredible. Just these 2 sopping wet slobs. Like they sounded like actual animals too.
Oh, yeah.
He was doing like the
jowl shaking, dude.
The jowl shaking.
Yes.
It was so ridiculous.
Yeah. In every way.
But it was really funny. It was better produced. So the year was 1987.
Context, yes.
Context. Vampire's Kiss was 1988. So this is older than that, but notably better produced.
Leagues in every way. Camera, music. I mean, just the blending of the audio.
The audio mixing for me is so key. Like, I need to hear the dialogue.
Yeah.
I need the music to be balanced. I don't want the sound effects to blow my eardrums out.
No.
You know,
These are easy asks.
This was
87.
nice. Yeah. This was a very well-made movie. Really cool directing from Joel Coen.
Oh, so many wild camera shots, dude.
Yeah.
Some POV stuff, and then, like, I don't know, when he was spinning around, the camera's, like, behind him on his legs.
Showing his legs spinning in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of POV shots. I love those. Notable was, like, the motorcycle guy. And then them doing, like, motorcycle cam. Like, showing the camera, like, go over obstacles and then cutting back, and the motorcycle's, like, in the air.
Yeah. No, he was always either on his motorcycle or a silhouette in the distance, sort of just blacked out.
Yeah.
With the sunset behind him, and he's so menacing.
Should we get into that character real quick?
Yeah, what was his name?
It's
Smalls?
totally
Smalls?
Leonard
Yeah.
Smalls,
Leonard,
I think.
yeah. Doesn't
Completely
matter.
unimportant.
He's a manhunter.
Yeah, so the very moment that the kidnapping is achieved, the very night after that, Nick Cage has a dream, a foreboding nightmare of a man on a motorcycle. Very Ghost Rider-esque, which I thought was sort of amusing given that we've watched Ghost Rider. It was like a guy on a motorcycle with like jet propulsion engines, and he was like on fire, and he was talking about how he had the powers of hells and angels, and like he could turn the day into night and all this shit. I was like, is this Ghost Rider? Is this a prequel?
Pretty cool.
But they're showing this guy. This might be one of the best character intros of any movie of all time.
Yeah.
He's coming up a desert highway on his motorcycle. Clearly strapped with 2 shotguns across his back.
Yeah, bandoliers, too.
Bandoliers of ammunition across his chest. Grenades on the bandoliers. He's got 2 shotguns in an X like a samurai.
Fucking sweet.
And he's just riding this motorcycle. He pulls off a grenade and just he just hucks it at a rabbit. And the rabbit goes up and sniffs it and then explodes. And then he shoots a gecko.
Content.
It's incredible, dude.
Amazing film.
Yeah.
My God.
Is the only other movie that blows up a rabbit with a grenade Monty Python
And
the Holy Grail?
Yeah, the Holy Hand Grenade.
The Holy Hand Grenade.
That might be the
Do you
only
think it was a
time.
reference? It might be a stretch, but
Yeah.
I mean, these are the Coen Bros. They definitely grew up watching Monty Python.
They probably just, probably liked it and wanted to put
Yeah.
a bunny getting destroyed by a grenade. in
Let's
one of
get
their
our
movies.
assistant to contact their people, and we'll get in touch. And
I'll
we'll
talk to the guy.
We'll see what they have to say for
Yeah.
themselves.
Jefferson.
Leonard
Our
Smalls,
guy.
though, that character was grisly.
Yeah. Yeah. Crunchy. Granola in the wrong way.
Yellow and brown teeth.
Disgusting. There was never a scene where he wasn't smoking.
Yeah,
either.
he always had a cigar in his mouth. He also had the superpower of being able to produce any object out of his wrist into his hand.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. He would just like put his hand out and a cigar would like come out of his wrist into his hand. And then the other hand, a match comes out, lights it on the unpainted furniture.
Oh, yeah. So I was actually reading a little bit about... I saw that we saw the tattoo scene in the end, right?
Yeah.
Where Nick Cage kind of looks at the guy's tattoo and he's trying to pull the pin out of the grenade on his chest.
During the final fight,
Yeah, climax fight.
between this biker and Nick Cage, they're fighting over the baby.
Exactly. He sees a tattoo and it kind of like... It looks like it weirds him out a little bit, and I think it's a tattoo that he has.
Yeah,
And
it
so-
was the same tattoo because they show it. They make a point in the first scene of the movie, which is a montage of Nick Cage like going in and out the prison system. He keeps getting released and then robbing a convenience store and then going back in. And the whole montage is like him doing his mug shots. And this is where he falls in love with the woman who will become his wife in the movie. But she's the police officer who keeps processing him. And she takes his mug shots and he's always flirting with her.
I wrote weirdly charming.
Yeah, it was funny and charming. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I was reading into that, and
But they show the tattoo is the only reason I brought that scene up. They make a clear point of saying to him, now show us the tattoo, and they photograph that tattoo because it's a marker that the police would use to like identify him.
Gotcha. But them both having that too apparently is his like demons being released the moment he did that deed of stealing the baby. And so when he has that dream, he releases that man into the world. And as soon as it's, conquered and calmed down, that's why he has that happy dream at the end.
Yeah. And he says that too when he wakes up. He's like, I felt as if I had released this into the world, a man on a motorcycle, and he's describing it. And it's like a supernatural force, the way he's portrayed.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, for sure. Just a little deeper level to
Yeah.
it.
Not sure if it like means anything, but I think the Coen Brothers just sort of do things to be quirky, And they are sort of like literary guys. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is based on Homer's Odyssey. So I don't think this was that type of thing, but
No, probably not.
they like allegory.
Yeah.
They like that sort of mystique.
I had no idea about what you just said with it being based
Oh Brother,
on...
Where Art Thou?
Not a clue. That's super cool.
Yeah, so John Goodman, he has the eye patch on because he represents the Cyclops. Oh. And the women that
Like the
seduce
sirens?
them are the sirens.
What, dude?
And,
That's cool.
Yeah, there's like the flood in the end, and everything that happens in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is directly something that happens in the Odyssey. It's like almost a 1-to-1 retelling of the story.
I really want to watch it again now. That's really cool.
It's really cool. So maybe they were doing something like smaller scale with the Dream Man or something.
Beats me, man.
Takes a more well-read man than I to.
Yeah, I haven't read that since I was in high school, for sure.
And I barely read it.
Yeah, I struggled through it. I did not understand most of it. You want to get into that John Goodman clip?
Yes. Let me play some beautiful audio, and we'll describe the visuals for you guys as well. Honestly, more important is the audio.
Oh, yeah.
This is, to set the scene, this is a rainy night over a muddy field just outside of the fence of a penitentiary. And we just see this. rain hitting the mud. Camera pans down to the ground.
Disturbance in the mud.
John Goodman's face emerges from the mud screaming. He is birthing himself from a mud hole right now.
Oh my God.
He's out of the mud hole. He's just standing screaming into the sky.
Fist in the mud hole.
He puts his arm back into the hole and pulls out his partner.
By the foot.
Yeah, foot first, pulls this guy out of the mud. They're just screaming in the rain. It's manic.
That is so absurd.
That is not the last time that John Goodman will spend an entire scene screaming.
No, the next one's way longer.
Way longer.
Way longer.
I don't know what that's
45.
supposed to be about. Are they like embodiments of different vices, like rage and sloth or something like that?
I guess.
Something artsy like that.
Possibly.
But he is just always yelling, screaming, just ah!
That part kind of made me a little uncomfortable when they left the baby on the car and he yelled the whole way back.
And they keep doing this thing where, like, so John Goodman is driving. This other guy, the dumber, smaller brother sidekick, is sitting passenger. He's just the quintessential dumb sidekick. With the dumb version of a southern accent.
Ooh.
The southern accent has a very mysterious way of being able to sound highly intelligent and like conniving or
Posh,
like cunning.
Too. Totally.
Yeah, and then like aristocratic, and then also just full blown dumb as a bag of rocks.
I think it just has to do with the enunciation of your southern accent. You let loose on those consonants and it gets dumber and dumber, dude.
And vocabulary plays a little bit, but even like the aristocratic version of the southern accent, like they'll still say things like, "Boy, you look about as smooth as a honey glazed ham." And like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Don't say that to me.
But if you're wearing white suspenders and have a monocle when you say it, you're like, "I do believe we've got a firefighter in our midst." Like, what? Okay.
I do declare.
Yeah. But this is the dumb version of the accent, sitting a passenger, and they leave the baby at the gas station that they just robbed.
On their car.
On top of the car, and it must have fallen off.
That's what, I mean, I guess.
Because when they go back, it's just sitting on the ground in the road.
It wouldn't have landed like that.
But we saw him put it on the roof. So I guess the presumption is they drove away and it just fell onto the ground off the roof of their car, which is problematic.
Not the first time it happens.
It's a resilient baby.
That's a good baby right there.
That's a good baby. He picked the right one.
He did talk about how good that baby was.
Yeah, so there were 5 to choose from, and he was struggling to pick which one. And when he gets back to the car, he's like, "I think I got the best one. The others were fine, but not as good as this one, Nathan Jr."
You can see he's got a little rebel in the eye by a sparkle.
Yeah, she's like, "This is a good baby." He's like, "Not too good." You can tell by the sparkle in his eye. We got a little rebel. Rabble rouser.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's like, "Don't say that." But yeah, that scene when they leave the baby and then they notice, they just turn to each other while driving and just start screaming. "Ah!" And then they're looking forward and looking to the side and looking up and looking forward and looking to the side, just screaming. It's like a Bugs Bunny Elmer Fudd cartoon.
It really is. I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to compare it to, really.
Like literally for me, the closest comparison is not other movies. No. It's Warner Bros. Cartoons.
For sure. Yeah, like classic Tom and Jerry sometimes even, all that stuff.
Yeah, it was very like frying pan on the head.
Mm-hmm. Bong! Getting splattered with all the blue paint and all that shit.
Yeah. Because they robbed that bank and like stepping on a rake and it just smacks you in the face and you see stars. And like, whoa.
Such dumb shit, but it's so effectively in comedy. You know?
Yeah, it was a good implementation of slapstick humor, honestly.
For sure.
And verbal humor too. Like it was very dialogue driven, as all Coen movies are.
Definitely.
You know?
And I cared the whole time about what all of these freaks were saying. I really did.
You know, Nick Cage's character, H.I. McConaughey, McConaughey?
McCaffrey, something like that. Unimportant. His name's Hi.
Hi. He was like a repeat offender, a robber. He would just go in with an unloaded gun and rob convenience stores and gas stations and stuff. But he was very charming, and like he had a sort of an endearing quality to him.
For sure. Yeah, I liked him from the get-go.
You're rooting for him
Yeah.
to stop robbing places and make the family work. You know,
It's a little robbing every once in a while. Yeah.
he got a sparkle in his eyes.
Exactly. He's just a little rebel.
Yeah, and he does. I actually wrote down that it's a theme, but like recidivism as a means of avoiding responsibility.
Yeah.
That's probably like the one sort of semi-serious theme in the movie.
Yeah.
That's actually sort of like touches home.
For sure. I mean, that's a very viable and real concept that people do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll put myself in trouble sometimes so I don't have to do something else. Easy.
Whether you're a middle school kid who's like just acting out so that you can lower expectations for yourself so that if you fail, it doesn't hurt as bad.
Yeah.
Or if you're a grown man who is facing down a needing wife and a new infant child, and they're looking at you asking if you have life insurance, do we have a pediatrician yet? And
you got
you got the TPAP test, and you realize you're in way over your head, and you go out and rob a convenience store hoping that it fails, you get locked up, and you don't have to deal with any of this anymore.
That scene caused me some serious, like a little bit of like actual dread. It's like, man, please don't do that. You know?
It always hurts to watch people make bad decisions, which is a reflection of like our actual empathy. You know, our brain is being triggered for real in that sense, you know. The same as if we were watching our friend go and get into his car drunk and they're like, God damn it, dude, come on, not
please.
again.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of Uncut Gems. I know you said you haven't seen that yet, but that's another movie where you've got this main character who's addicted to gambling.
Yeah.
And he just will not stop making the wrong decision. And each scene like escalates from the last one where you think like he just got out, he just weaseled out of this previous situation, and then he doubles down on the next one, and it just keeps blowing up and getting bigger and bigger. And it's so stressful.
That is not my type of movie. I don't like those type of movies.
I don't want to watch
much.
Uncut Gems again, to be honest. It's one of those movies that I respect it. It was good, like from a quality standpoint.
Sure.
But I don't want to experience it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that sounds like it's a good movie then, honestly, you know. If
kind of like Leaving Las Vegas almost.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that I watched it.
Yeah.
I will not be watching it anytime soon, though.
It'll take a while for me to cleanse my palate of that one.
20 years, I'd say.
There's some other movies like that, too. Like maybe Train Spotting.
That's a really good movie, man. I don't watch that movie anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I watched it like 3 times in a year or two.
There's some that just make me uncomfortable.
Depressing,
you know?
Yeah. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is kind of up there for me with that.
Really?
One. Yeah.
I wouldn't put that in there for me.
Yeah.
I think that's a really beautiful movie that I genuinely enjoy the experience of watching. But
that's fair.
But yeah, some of them, man, they just stress you out.
Yeah.
And this movie had some stress levels for sure. It was very chaotic.
But balanced well.
It was balanced.
Yeah, for sure. The ending was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
End with a dream sequence.
Yeah. Yeah.
On
Nice
an
little
optimistic note.
Yeah. I like that the Nathan Arizona guy wasn't a total piece of shit. I mean, he was.
Right?
Yeah. But
yeah, so Nathan Arizona is the unpainted furniture salesman who they steal the baby from. And he's portrayed as pretty much just a douchebag in the first couple scenes he's in. Like, he's always yelling. He only cares about making money.
Yeah. Even when the kid is taken, he is telling the reporters, if my name ain't Nathan Arizona, I'll get you deals cheaper.
Don't forget, we've still got these promotions. It's like, you just did a press interview because your baby was kidnapped, sir. This is the note you want to end on? He's that kind of guy. He's just like money first, me second. His wife is at the bottom of that list. That's like the version of him you get in the first scene. And then they do return the baby at the end because his wife, Edwina,
and Herbert.
she has the sort of like realization that after the baby is stolen from them, how bad it makes her feel that they did that to Nathan, Arizona.
Yeah.
And
in tandem, though, I think they both realize they shouldn't be parents.
yeah, she's like, we don't deserve this
now.
baby.
Yeah.
If we're stealing a baby, we don't deserve the baby. It's like what they came to.
Good point.
So they did decide to return the baby close to the end of the movie. And you get this really heartwarming scene between this allegedly douchebag businessman and these two down on their luck, like peasants, basically. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to give them like some real advice. And he's like, don't stop trying. Just because you're barren now, the medical science can catch up. You just got to keep praying. Because I guess part of the plot was that his wife was also barren.
Yeah, but he'd been taking fertility pills.
They'd been taking fertility pills, and then they got quintuplets. So it's this idea that, like, don't give up on your dreams just because you're down on your luck.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it was actually a kind, heartwarming speech. I was a little caught off guard by it.
It was very sincere, too.
Yeah.
Like, the actor did a good job. You could see it, like, in his eyes and just the way he was holding his face, like his mouth and stuff. Like, oh, this person has let his guard down.
For sure. When he was talking about his wife, even, it's like, I would surely miss her. I do love her.
I really do love her.
Yeah.
Because they have this sort of sterile relationship in the first scene where they sit in two separate chairs. They're not even on like a couch. It's like two separate chairs that are across a room, and they're both reading separate newspapers, sitting in silence. It's like you can tell they have like probably a dead bedroom. Well, I guess they just had kids, so maybe not fully dead, but they're being portrayed as a pretty loveless marriage.
For sure.
And then he lets his guard down. He's like, I really do love my wife and all this. And
yeah, he's not mad about his baby being kidnapped. No harm done.
Yeah, he says he's not going to press charges.
Yeah.
He's like, you can leave the same way you came in, which is a ladder to the window. Turns the lights off and walks away.
Yeah. Yeah, but then he has that lovely little dream sequence, and it was all very nice. We could probably do you want to bring up that last dream sequence?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember all the things that were in it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's entirely important.
There's a couple phases, but I mean, I think the big gist is just that he got the sense that his life was turning around.
And he was okay with it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think like I said before, the recidivism of his prison time was a pattern of behavior that was intentional.
Yeah.
Because he was a juvenile person who didn't want to grow up.
Yeah, no responsibilities needed.
Exactly. And so through this sort of like crazy journey with his wife over the baby theft and, it's sort of like a coming of age movie, I guess, where by the end of the movie, he has matured in a real way, not just like, I want to be better, but like he is better.
Yeah.
And his dream states like reflect that, I think. I don't remember the exact content of the dreams, but
it was just good positive messaging. He talked about like his friends who went back to jail and on their own behalf because they weren't ready to be out yet.
Oh yeah, and visually they climbed back into the mud hole that they escaped from.
Back to the sewers.
Back in the sewers. Really pretty on the nose visual metaphor of recidivism. It's like
totally.
They are climbing back into the mud on purpose.
Yeah.
Whereas he is cleaning himself up. And
yeah, I liked all the visual metaphors, man. I liked the slapstick comedy. It was a fucking banger of a movie. Not gonna lie.
Pretty funny too, dude.
Yeah.
Like the first scene was very funny. There was a montage, like I said, of him going in and out of this like revolving door of prison bids where he's doing like 6 months for this, 18 months for that. And he just keeps, the second he gets out, he grabs a gun and goes and robs a store just so he can go right back in.
Ugh.
And one of the characters is like this tall black man with a really deep voice, and he's like, they're doing like a therapy session.
Circle time.
And the therapist is like, what do you mean exactly that it feels like you were born in the wrong body? And it's like, sometimes I get menstrual cramps. That's the whole scene.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was very funny. That, and then, man, just the way he would talk to the freaking, like, the parole board and such, too, was always hilarious.
Yeah, he said that he was, like, totally reformed and would never be back. And they're like, you're not just telling us what we want to hear, are you? He's like, no, sir. He's like, because we just want to hear the truth. And he goes, well, in that sense, I guess I am just telling you what you want to hear, because that's the truth. It's like, we told you not to do that. It's like, that sort of like linguistic comedy is the Coen Brothers like bread and butter.
Oh yeah, it's great.
The little back and forth banter of like a sentence hinging on the double meaning of a word and stuff like that. They're very semantic people.
I like it. Yeah. It makes me want to watch more Coen Brothers movies.
For sure.
I haven't seen all of them by any means.
Oh, me neither. I've seen a few key ones, but
Yeah.
there's more. Worth noting, this was only their second movie. We looked up their filmography.
Wild.
Yeah.
For a second movie? I mean, I'm sure they had some business in the film industry beforehand, so they had an idea maybe of what they wanted to achieve, but that was clean.
I think
really.
they were writers first.
Okay,
I
that
think
would make a lot of sense.
Because they write their own screenplays. And I think they were probably writers, if I remember correctly, before they got into directing their own movies. So they were
Gotcha.
probably spent a few years selling scripts. And then,
Someone gave them a couple $1 million.
Yeah, someone took a chance on these guys.
Hey, paid the fuck off, too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hairline
check. So 1987, Nick Cage has a pretty robust hairline. It hasn't started widow's peaking back.
No, not at all. It's nice. It has a good curve to it.
Yeah.
But his hair during the whole movie,
Crazy.
electrification. Literally looks like he is just standing straight up.
Looks like he's stuck a fork in a socket.
Oh, yeah.
Before every scene.
Yeah. Or he's getting it like wet and slicking just the front back so the sides are still poking out all crazy.
Or the wind is like blowing it in all directions. The hair was like a constant recurring motif.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's interesting? I actually didn't really realize towards the end of the movie, did it get calm? Like after?
Do you think his hair is like
I
a
think
symbol
it was a visual representation of the chaos
of
in his
inner
life.
turmoil? I think that's true, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's really true. And I think maybe there's some credence to that with the fact that the two guys who escaped from prison were constantly putting so much pomade in their hair.
Yeah.
They came out of the mud and then they greased themselves up. And they're just like so soggy and greasy. And like it's like another visual metaphor for like what it feels like to be just a dirty criminal.
Yeah,
and
stuck
like,
in that loop.
That mind state is greasy.
Ugh.
Whereas his mind state wasn't greasy, it was more chaotic and whimsical.
Yeah.
And going all directions and uncontrollable. That's crazy.
I
dude.
know. I can't believe that.
The hair as a representation of inner state.
Let's go.
Let's go. Roger Ebert ain't got shit on booty whiskey.
Oh, huge.
That's factual.
You want to watch that GQ clip?
Yeah, so we pulled up another one of those interviews of Nick Cage breaking down his own roles. We're going to watch that now.
H.I. McDonough, to me, was like a living cartoon. I saw him as Woody Woodpecker, and so much so that I even put the thrush muffler tattoo, the woodpecker with the cigar and red feathers whipped back in the wind as a tattoo for H.I. McDonough, put it on the character's arm. I would rub my hair until static electricity would make it lift up so that I was like Woody Woodpecker and would look like Woody Woodpecker. I must have auditioned for that movie about 20 times. Joel and Ethan, they would laugh every time. But then they would say during the audition, we're laughing, we can't stop laughing, but we don't know why we're laughing. So there was a little bit of trepidation. And then they cast me, and I was thrilled because I knew right away when I had read the script that this was going to be a winner, that this could really be something special. About a week into rehearsals, Joel took me aside. He said, I could have cast Kevin Costner in this part, or I could have cast this. And I said, well, why did you cast me? And that stopped that conversation. Ethan was a great audience. He was always laughing in the back, in the corner. He'd be laughing at every scene, and that was actually a terrific experience for me. And that's where I first coined the phrase, I'm getting that Super 8 feeling. I used to make movies with my brother in the backyard when we were children. And we had a Super 8 camera that my father gave us, and we would make movies. And that Super 8 feeling, I've often said, is the feeling where you're making a movie simply because you love the movie. You're not doing it for money, you're not doing it for awards,
Nice.
You're doing it simply because you love the story you're telling and the filmmaking
I felt that watching
experience
this.
itself.
For sure.
And I remember Joel said, I'm getting that Super 8 feeling. He said, well, that's good. Let's go with keep that going.
Okay, well, my reaction to that is we were perfectly on the mark with our cartoon character vibe and
Very
the
much
hair
so.
thing.
Yeah,
Those were the
100%.
first two things he mentioned.
Yeah. Interesting that he brought up, how reluctant they seemed.
Yeah, the trepidation.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
how Joel Coen was like, I could have cast anyone for this. And he's like, well, why'd you cast me? And that's one version of the story, I'm sure. Joel probably has another.
I am sure.
But it lends a little credence to what I said earlier, that there was some...
Dude, I can't imagine having to have Nick Cage in that mindset around
being all
me.
wacky.
Oh.
So did he say that it was his idea to do the tattoo thing, too?
It was,
He
yeah.
put that on the character and just rolled with it?
Yeah. I wonder if it was his suggestion to put it on the Manhunter as well.
Yeah. How
Curious,
does that
so,
add up?
yeah.
Because at some point, they've got to, sort of write that in and shoot it. And
For sure. Makeup,
So-
everything, yeah.
that had to have been changed after they cast him and after they started filming. They're like, wait, do you have a tattoo? Like, then because they featured it also in that montage. So, like, there was some give and take.
I mean...
I like that type of stuff.
I
dude.
do too, and he makes good decisions sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes it seems like it's worth it. And this was right after Moonstruck too, same year. So
Yeah.
he's coming hot off the press,
Yeah.
with Cher,
Right?
hot Cher press, and but then right after
Musical shares.
Vampire's Kiss, man, like what? What
Yeah, that's
decision?
a very interesting...
It's just so weird.
I said earlier he probably needed to fire his agent after Vampire's Kiss because he went from 1987 doing Raising Arizona and Moonstruck, two popular, acclaimed movies. The very next year, Vampire's Kiss is a fucking dumpster fire.
This is an indie shit house.
Who's in charge of this guy?
No one.
is that your
I don't know
boy?
if it's anyone.
Yeah, like,
I think it's Nick Cage.
yeah, I think he's just reading the scripts. He's like, I like this. This has a lot of soul.
This one's for me. This relationship is so passionate.
What a weirdo. It is hard to work with someone who sometimes makes really good decisions and sometimes makes really bad ones. And you don't know like which version of that person you're going to get this time.
100%. By the day, sometimes even,
Sometimes it's better to just be consistent and reliable
Yeah.
and just be 80% as good than to be unpredictable.
Yeah. But
Your highs are higher.
yeah,
Your lows are lower.
we wouldn't have gotten these movies
Yeah.
without him.
Yeah, it's just a roller coaster.
Yeah, man. It's weird. I love it, though. That's why we made the podcast.
It's fucking true. We wouldn't be doing this podcast about Kevin Costner.
Absolutely not.
So suck a dick,
Kevin.
Casey.
Bitch made. Oh, yeah. Do you got anything else on there for me?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
The response by the teenaged cashier of the gas station after he robs it is completely unhinged.
Yeah, it's insane.
Including the police response to that scene as well. He goes in, he pulls a gun out, he's trying to literally just steal Huggies diapers
Yeah.
and maybe like a bag of chips. Or it's like two things, but it's mainly the diapers.
He asked for cash, too.
Oh yeah, and he's like, and all the cash in the register. But it's sort of an afterthought. He's like, you might as well give me the cash. Really, he was there for diapers. The cashier presses an alarm button. That triggers a police response. When he hears the sirens, he bolts. His wife has already bolted because she's got the baby in the car. She's like, fuck this, dips out. So we've just got H.I. McConaughey in the parking lot with an unloaded weapon because he never uses a loaded gun because that way when you get charged, you get less time.
Yeah, not armed robbery.
It's not armed robbery. But the cashier, he's like a pimply-faced, braces-wearing 16-year-old boy, pulls out a fucking handgun,
Huge.
starts firing it at Nick Cage's head. He's aiming for the head.
Oh, yeah. He wants him dead.
Yeah.
There's no maiming.
And
this
he's
guy.
like, he has this manic look on his face like, this is hilarious.
Oh,
like,
he's full of glee.
yeah, he's
giddy.
glee struck.
Yeah, he's-
He's firing this weapon at Nick Cage, and he's like running around like Bugs Bunny. This is where I said it was like Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd because it's like bullets can't hit this guy. It's just like, pew,
yeah.
pew.
So many shots are fired out of revolvers. It is
Dude.
insane.
I took notes during this sequence. So revolvers have infinite bullets.
Oh, yeah.
They never stop firing them, like at any
Yeah.
point. They're like literally the sound effects in the scene are just spaced out every 2 seconds.
Really? I wasn't paying that close attention to it.
The whole fucking scene. So revolvers never have to reload.
Yeah.
And then we explicitly see the grocery store clerk because they go from the gas station to a grocery store. He pulls out a double barrel shotgun, loads it with 2 shells, and then fires 4 rounds.
The whole time, each which and way that Nick Cage is running, the cops are firing into houses. They go through a house and he's
across
firing.
pedestrians.
Yeah.
There's old ladies going, oh, and
Down
dropping
the
their
store
groceries
lanes, dude. Yeah.
down the aisles in the grocery store.
Insane. I loved it, though. It was so funny.
And they're being chased by a pack of dogs.
And the pimply-faced teenager who's still there trying to kill Nick Cage, dude.
The cashier has been chasing him the whole time, firing.
Miles, I assume.
The police are literally hanging out of the side of their window.
They fall out
firing.
sometimes.
They fall out of the window. They're swerving, firing out into residential neighborhoods. He's being chased by all the neighborhood dogs. And then everyone has a gun and everyone's using it.
Yeah, naturally.
Unlimited ammunition.
I didn't know I picked up that perk, bro. Sweet.
It's so fucking funny to me. And that was like the point where I realized that they were fully leaning into this being a Bugs Bunny cartoon movie. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
There's no way you show on purpose someone loading a double barrel shotgun and then shoot 4 rounds without that being a hilarious joke.
Yeah.
So they're just playing around with the whole concept of realism and like slapstick and.
But it's still, it just blended so well with all of it. They never really took the slapstick too far, you know? You'd have great moments of insane police chase cartoon bullshit, and then it's right back into, you know, a mellow, like the conversation that him and his wife were having, you know, after she finally gets him out of that car chase.
Yeah,
super weird.
Something would ground it. It would get emotional again.
Yeah.
Some natural dialogue. Something heartfelt. It wasn't just slapstick. But
I'm glad for that too. I couldn't watch an entire movie of just that sort of.
Yeah, because that's like once you get in, that's where you get into the uncut gems territory where it's like too much chaos. It's too stressful, and I'm not having a good time anymore.
Yeah,
there were moments in this movie that were like that, but they were brief enough that like when you get grounded again, you breathe.
Your body releases the tension a little bit.
And you feel good again. And now we're just in comedy mode. But yeah, that scene was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous watching the pack of dogs and the cashier firing, just hip firing, infinite ammo, cracking me up.
Do you think when he smacked his foreman and said, "Keep your hands off my damn wife," you think Will Smith was referencing that?
Yeah, Will Smith grew up watching this movie.
Watching Raising Arizona.
He's like, I'm going to do that one day. He's like, idolized this character.
Nice.
Yeah, his foreman comes over just for like a sort of a friendly visit. They're just hanging out. And I think that scene was a means of showing like the worst version of what a family can be, like the most stressful version. Because they come over, they've got 5 kids.
Christ.
And they are the most misbehaved kids of all time.
Yeah.
Obviously directed to be so by the Coen Brothers. Yeah. They're running around
successfully,
just clubbing shit with a stick.
Standing on the car.
They look outside and he's like, "Stop hitting his car." And all 5 kids are on the car bashing it.
With sticks, dude. That's awesome.
They're just running around screaming. He's like spraying Nick Cage's like crotch with a water gun. He's like, "Mr. McConaughey peed himself, Daddy, look." And like runs away. And the wife was obnoxious. The dad was obnoxious. God. This whole family was like a stand-in for the worst version of an American family.
Yeah, just like the worst white trash you can imagine, essentially. But
so obnoxious.
That has a little money too, though. So they have like,
yeah,
dude, I did not.
No, they were so because that guy is his boss.
Yeah,
and then towards the end of that scene, he's telling them that they should swap wives because they're swingers. Yeah. And he's like, "We should do a wife swap." He's like, "I find your wife quite attractive." And he's saying he wants to fuck his wife, and no hesitation. Dude just cold clocks him, beats the shit out of his foreman, loses his job. That's actually what spurs on the robbery the next day because it's financial insecurity. Another like sort of grounding real theme in the movie that makes it relatable for people. It's like this isn't actually just all a joke. Like people are struggling here.
Yeah, people are struggling and there are families like that. Dude.
Yeah, and there's consequences for this stuff and you better grow up and get your shit together if you're going to have a kid.
Yeah, dude. I mean, imagine how those kids would grow up to be. I mean, I'm sure you and I both met plenty of people that fit that bill. And it is unfucking fortunate.
So annoying.
Just like, no respect for anyone or anything around them. Oh, God. I swear my kids will not be like that. It's not even that hard to be a good fucking parent either.
So I wrote down towards the end of my notes.
Yeah.
Peak Americana.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you said that.
I think this is the most American movie I've ever seen.
I would only argue with maybe Top Gun. That might be more American, but it's like propagandist American.
Top Gun is like
real
military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
patriotic American.
That's like the small slice of it that's just like military stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like American culture on the ground. They're in Tempe, Arizona. They live in a trailer. Every character has a gun. Doesn't hesitate to use it.
No,
They're
ever.
all poor, making bad decisions. The music is like Appalachian bluegrass.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a.
It's just like a slice of American culture distilled down into like the purest potent concentration.
With a touch of John Goodman.
Yeah, dude. John Goodman just screaming.
No,
I mean, he's America's dad.
That is, there we go. That's an apt point, though. I mean, yeah, it really covers a lot of different, like, societal structures, realistically, that go on in that little like slice of life, essentially.
Yeah, the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
The prison, like, revolving door of, like, poverty in prison. And
Totally. The weird disparity between the rich and the poor. I mean, he's just a fucking business owner. You know, he sells goddamn unpainted furniture.
Exactly.
It's nothing.
He's middle class, but to them, he's like a god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just fucked.
And just everybody wants everything at all times. They're all self-centered, and they're all like, they want to have as many kids as possible.
They're all clearly raised the way that they're living.
They're just sort of like blind capitalist consumers who are living in a land of plenty where everything is up for grabs and there's no one to tell you no.
Yeah. The cycle perpetuates. Yeah.
I also thought that this was sort of a prototype for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I could imagine that.
It was 13 years beforehand, but a lot of the things that I like about Oh Brother, Where Art Thou that made it a great movie are present in this movie. The use of music, the type of music that it is, the witty dialogue, the character-driven...
Even camera work a bit.
Yeah. It's just... And it takes place in the South. It's that sort of like, again, which is like the most quintessentially American place. It's like the South and the West.
Yeah.
As far as cinema goes and like literary history goes.
Yeah.
Maybe excluding like Salem, Massachusetts. Those are probably the most referenced places in America.
Probably Texas and
in
California,
literature.
New York.
Yeah. It's like the South is American as apple pie.
For sure.
Tennessee, Georgia,
Kentucky,
Texas,
Arizona. Actually, I would have thought of Arizona as the South, but I mean, it clearly is.
Southwest.
Yeah.
It's also playing into the Western movie archetypes with like the guy on the motorcycle, the highway, kind of like the Easy Rider.
You remember when he does the wheelie and a horse neighs somewhere in the Oh, good.
So good.
Good comedy right there.
But yeah, I thought it was sort of the prototype almost. That's what I thought of it as for a movie like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? All the pieces were in place. They were assembled differently.
Yeah.
But it was taking them somewhere. And I think it took them to Oh Brother.
I like that description, honestly. I fucking really want to watch that movie again now.
Now that we should read the Odyssey.
Okay, no homework.
And then we watch Oh Brother. Now, we'll get the Spark Notes.
Yeah, well, easy. Done.
I'm a Spark Notes guy.
I was too. I don't read anything anymore.
Reading is for suckers. We're
Losers.
podcasters. I'm an audio-based person.
That's exactly right. Budget, $5 to $6 million. Made 30.
Nice.
Pretty good.
That's a good second movie.
Second movie?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
1987?
Yeah.
Good return.
Yeah, for sure. But, I don't know.
That's a return that takes you places. Like it's not the type of return a studio exec looks at and is like, we've got to get them on the next movie. But it's...
For second movie? That's fucking...
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's a resume builder, for sure.
Huge.
The movie was I think, well received critically.
Yeah.
People liked this movie.
Yeah. Didn't win any awards, but it's sitting at a solid 8 out of 10 and above on every scale. So.
Yeah. It's genuinely funny. It's quirky. It's got a lot of heart. There's not much not to like unless you particularly don't enjoy slapstick or chaos.
Or Nick Cage.
Yeah. But
Pops.
he wasn't that cagey in this movie.
No, there were moments. We should talk about the Cage level for sure.
There were a couple moments, some bug eyes, some hand gesturing.
Some of the talking sometimes.
It was cagey, but at max it was a 3 out of 5.
That's what I gave it.
Yeah.
Yep. We are on.
Yeah. All of our ratings
lock.
so far have been dialed. We understand the rating system.
Yep. That's right. Our arbitrary rating system.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an adamantium cage, but it's not a feather cage. It's probably
like a brick
like
cage, you know?
Yeah, like a loose mortar.
Just the grout.
Yeah, it's a grout cage.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, he wasn't super cagey, but the character itself was a wacky character. So he didn't have to be that cagey to still put forward a cagey performance.
I
Because it just
agree.
sort of like, it was his lane. He was kind of like natural in it.
Yeah, the whole performance itself was probably a 4 out of 5 caginess.
Yeah.
But with not cage mannerisms.
Not in the sense that he was going out of character to do it.
Yeah, he wasn't popping into, go.
Yeah.
There was none of that.
The
But
caginess wasn't taking me out of the experience of the movie. It was actually like just part of what I was watching.
yeah, and I liked it.
I liked it.
I liked it a lot.
It was an easily digestible, fun movie.
Yeah, the concepts weren't too over the top or anything. I wasn't like, didn't make me stressed out to think about it like Vegas or The Vampire's Kiss. You know?
It's
It
not
was just
filling me with existential dread.
questioning my life and my mortality.
Yeah, it's not like the easiest movie to watch just because it is sort of chaotic and it's a little stressful because people are making bad decisions.
Yeah.
But like,
Almost no trigger warnings.
it's a light.
Yeah.
It's a light-hearted, unless you or your infant has been kidnapped. There's probably no trigger warnings
Yeah.
for this one.
Yeah, you're probably not listening to Booty Whiskey if your infant is currently kidnapped.
as an infant. Yeah, so I would say this is like it's a good family movie probably. Like you could watch this with like your middle school aged kids. And
Totally.
It's like
13, 14?
barrel of laughs, you know.
Absolutely.
There's something for everybody. It has enough grounded real themes for adults and funny dialogue for adults. It's got enough slapstick for kids.
Yeah.
It's a pretty well-rounded Americana film.
Yeah. I loved it. I will watch it again, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I'm glad. And it was all our first watch. I don't know if we mentioned that, but yeah. Just a fun, new experience. I love seeing Cage in different lights.
Question.
Answer.
What movie are we going to watch next week?
That's a really good question. I have a different notebook.
New Notebook.
So, I am pretty sure, though, it's either Gone in 60 Seconds or Face Off.
Yeah, I think the way we had it was patterning back and forth between the dumber sort of action movies and then the more critically acclaimed ones. So if this is one that's more critically acclaimed, I do believe
It's probably Face Off.
we're probably going to do Face Off
Yeah.
or Gone in 60 Seconds. And then I think after that we'll do Adaptation.
Yeah, and after adaptation, it's Wicker Man.
Yes. Or the other, either Face Off or Gone.
Either way.
Whichever one of those two we didn't do.
Yeah, we're seeing those next. Those are our next 5 movies.
Those are our next 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And then,
Then we get Current, baby.
then we get the current art house era of Nick Cage.
Excited, dude. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Just to watch Mandy again.
Yep.
Not even to speak of the ones I haven't seen yet, but just Mandy again. Yes, please.
I know.
Pig. Yes, please.
I know. I've been actually talking myself out of watching Mandy again because I really want to.
Yeah, you can't start watching Nick Cage movies on your own time.
No, that's a serious. What's going on? Serious problem. Well, sweet man.
I'm realizing we didn't introduce ourselves, so I do want to just remind the listeners who we are.
Who are we?
They know we're Booty Whiskey, but
Yeah.
I'm your host, Patrick William. I am a bucket hat vendor. I make custom bucket hats that are reasonably priced,
Yeah.
unreasonably beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When did you come up with that marketing campaign? Where was I?
It was a dream that I had. You were in the dream, and you were bald,
Yeah.
and we needed to cover up that shine.
It's been a whole problem my whole life.
So I created bucket hats as a mechanism for the bald among us to prosper.
That's really cool, man. Oh, man. I'm Austin. Jenny, co-host, Booty Whiskey. Let's see, I think I just exist nowadays, man. I think I'm a homeless guy.
A free-floating
I don't know
orb.
if you remember, but a while back, this other guy named Austin that we used to work with, he used to bake cookies for homeless people.
Oh, yeah. I stole a lot of that guy's cookies.
I don't have any money. I'm that guy. I have to eat the cookies. Someone else took over.
So you're a vagrant now.
I am a vagrant. Yeah. I think about moving to Tampa.
Tempe's got the best rent prices. Tempe.
Does it?
Yeah, if you live in a trailer.
Yeah. I will not. I want to live outside.
Like the motorcycle guy who camps outside his trailer just like 100 yards in the distance.
He was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah, when he pulls his motorcycle up in the sagebrush and like leans against it next to a campfire. It's like you're watching Clint Eastwood in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, just as good
with
acting
the cigars.
too.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Clint Eastwood wasn't bringing that much to the table. Like, let's be honest.
Just a name, my dude.
Yeah, it's just a steely-eyed face. It's like chewing on a cigar. You're not that great, buddy.
Fuck. This will piss somebody off.
Yeah, there's a reason this isn't the Clint Eastwood series.
No,
Nick
Cage
Cage is
no,
better.
Clint Eastwood. Oh, great.
All right, we love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for watching, too. Freaking Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
See you next week.
True criminal show. Nick's how I would flow. Arrested again, going back to the pen. Falling in love, getting married and then can't have a baby. She's barren and sad. He's gonna get her that baby, but the family will be mad. Nick took the baby, he did, from the mansion where they live. The bounty hunter will find him unless he repents his sin. Gas station clerk wants to shoot. Nick tried to steal his loot. Guns blazing hard and fast. Not a single bullet will make him pass. Oops, we forgot the baby. Again and again and again. Oops, we forgot the baby. Where could it happen? Everyone knows that this ain't right. Nick put the baby back at midnight. Wealthy folks broke into tears. Nick's hair is now sincere. Nick took the baby, he did, from the mansion where they live. The bounty hunter will find him unless he repents his sin. Gas station clerk wants to shoot. Nick tried to steal his loot. Guns blazing hard and fast. Not a single bullet will make impact. Oops, we forgot the baby. Again and again and again. Oops, we forgot the baby. Where could it have been? Where could it